Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101 NFL Football Sunday, the early games pregame show. We're going to break down today's Browns game, and I'll give my thoughts and what I feel the Browns need to do to get the win today in Pittsburgh. And we'll go over all of Week 6 NFL action. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. The Miami Dolphins had the first undefeated season in NFL history. In 1985, which undefeated team did they beat to make sure their legacy remained? And I will have the answer later on the podcast. Well, it's week 6 of the NFL, and the Browns are getting ready to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers today at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the last time the Browns won in Pittsburgh was back in 2003. I feel this game today, that's all going to change. The winner of today's game at Heinz Field between the Browns and Steelers might just be determined by which team's pass rush does the most damage. No team has more sacks than the Steelers. The Steelers 20 in 4 games. Meanwhile, the only one player has more sacks than the Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, who has also forced 3 fumbles, and his fumbles is second in the league in hurries according to Pro Football Focus, and first in pressures. Sunday will be a test for both offensive lines as they seek to keep their quarterbacks clean when they turn to the pass game. The Browns especially need to do everything they can to keep Baker Mayfield clean. First, because he's playing hurt, and even though he's sore, he is ready to go for today's game against the Steelers. Second, Mayfield, according to Pro Football Focus, is number 33 in passer rating when under pressure. Ben Roethlisberger is number 7. Now, both teams beat pass rusher. Team's best pass rusher, have been at their best against their rivals. Garrett has 4 sacks against the Steelers and boasts one of his best individual performances against Pittsburgh in the Browns tie in 2018. On the other side, T.J. Watt has 9 sacks against the Browns, feasting on something the Browns don't have anymore. Poor tackle play this time. He'll be facing either Jack Conklin or Jedrick Wills. And kickoff for the Browns versus Steelers game is at 1 o'clock on CBS 19. But the pass rush will be the factor of the outcome of today's game. The Browns have 4 players out with injuries for today's game against the Steelers. Ronnie Harrison is out with a concussion. Carl Joseph with a hamstring. Wyatt Teller with a calf injury. And Jacob Phillips with a knee injury. Those guys are out. And the Steelers have some guys who are out with injuries. David Del Castro with an abdominal injury. And Deontay Johnson with a back injury. Now the Browns have some players who are questionable for today's game against the Steelers. Baker Mayfield with a chest, but I think he will start for the Browns today. But they are preparing Case Keenum just in case. Odell Beckham Jr. with his illness, but I think he will play today. Jarvis Landry, hips and ribs, but I think hopefully there's a possibility he could play. Hopefully, Oliver Vernon with a groin injury. I'm not so sure about that one, but he just might. Larry Obijobi with an abdomen injury. And so he is questionable, but he might play today. We're not sure. And Jamie Gillian with a groin, and it's possible he will play today. So, but I really think that this is all going to change. I think the Browns are going to get the win on the road today in Pittsburgh. And my score prediction is the Browns 31, the Steelers 28. We will get to my NFL picks of the week and today's games. And you'll hear my brother-in-law's a bit later when I do the post-game show later on this afternoon. But right now, it's time, and I will get to the picks in just a moment. But right now, it is time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 NFL Football Sunday trivia question. The Miami Dolphins had the first undefeated season in NFL history. In 1985, which undefeated team did they beat to make sure their legacy remained? And if you said the Chicago Bears, you are correct. The 1972 Dolphins went 14-0 in the regular season. And in 1985, the loss by the Chicago Bears was their only loss for the season. Chicago went on to win the Super Bowl that season. And I will have another trivia question on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. Now to go over my picks of the week and all the other NFL action today. And I have picked the Browns to beat the Steelers at Heinz Field today in Pittsburgh. As you know, the Tennessee Titans will take on the Houston Texans at LP Field in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going with the Titans to win that one. The Atlanta Falcons will take on the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going with the Vikings to win that one, Minnesota. The Baltimore Ravens will take on the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. And I am going with Baltimore, although I'd like to see Philly get the win and us to beat Pittsburgh, because if that can happen, that can put the Browns in first place at 5-1 all by themselves. The Cincinnati Bengals will take on the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium. I am going with Indianapolis to win that one. I picked them. The Detroit Lions will take on the Chicago Bears at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. And although Jacksonville is tough at home, they've been struggling lately, and I'm going with Detroit on the road to get this one. This is one of my long shots for this week. The Chicago Bears will take on the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Carolina's tough at home. I'm going with Carolina on this one, although Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback, but I don't know if they're going to get the win, but I'm going with Carolina. The Miami Dolphins will take on the winless New York Jets at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And I'm going with Miami to win this one because they're playing in Miami, and I think Miami's going to get the win. And the Jets, it's just going to be a long season for them. They're just struggling right now, and I feel like they need to fire that head coach, Adam Gase. So, got to go with Miami. The Washington football team will take on the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium in New York, and I'm going with the Giants to win that one because I think the Giants are going to want to bounce back from their loss to Dallas last week, and I think they're going to bounce back. They're going to get it. I'm going with the Giants on this one. The Denver Broncos in a makeup game with the New England Patriots will take on the Patriots at Gillette Stadium in Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And I'm going with the Patriots to win this one. Cam Newton's going to be back, and I think the Patriots are going to get the win in this one. The Green Bay Packers will take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. And although Tampa Bay can be tough at home, but they've been struggling lately and have not played well, I'm going with the Packers to get the one on the road. Sunday Night Football. The LA Rams will take on the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football and at Levi Stadium in San Francisco. And I'm going with the Rams to get the one on the road because San Francisco is banged up with injuries. And they've got several injuries, so I've got to go with the Rams on that one. And we have 2 Monday Night Football games. The first one will be at 5 o'clock on Monday. And that will be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills at Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo. And I'm going with Buffalo to win that one. And only because they're playing in Buffalo. And I think Josh Allen is going to beat Patrick Mahomes II. And at 8:20, the Arizona Cardinals will take on the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium in Big D. But Dak Prescott is out for the season, and Andy Dalton will be starting for Dallas. But I don't think Dallas is going to get the win because they're hurting with Dak Prescott being out for the rest of the season. I'm going with the Cardinals and Kyler Murray to get the win. And those are my Week 6 picks of the week. And as I said before, my Browns score prediction, the Browns 31, the Steelers 28. So if the Browns can really go out there and really get the job done, I think they'll get the win. They've got to put the pressure on the Steelers. They've got to keep the Roethlisberger out of the pocket, and they've got to just keep the Steelers from scoring. That's the main thing. And I think the Browns are going to do just that, and I think they'll get the win today in Pittsburgh for the first time since 2003. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 early games pregame show. I'll be back with the early games postgame show late this afternoon. And that'll be probably about close to late afternoon, early evening. And so, until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day and every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1, I'm done.